But welcome to the Office 365 Productivity Tips, the summertime skirmish. And Tom and I have had a bit of a hiatus. The last one we did was, I think it was in February when we recorded that last one. Hopefully he'll be able to join and answer those questions here shortly. Yeah, the idea of these sessions comes from, for those that haven't joined one of them, is that Tom and I so we've known each other for a few years, but I think it was at SharePoint Saturday Twin Cities where we had a kind of conversation and said, well, hey, I was thinking about even starting a blog that was doing nothing but capturing various hints and tips, a lot of Office into the more complexity around Office 365 enabled, SharePoint tips, kind of just all over the place. And then discovered Tom's great blog, which is the 1minuteofficemagic.com, which we'll share the links and stuff around that. And said, oh, well, hey, Tom is already doing this. We should just partner up and maybe do some co-presentations, and so that's what this kind of evolved into. So we've done some live events. We've tried to slowly build a collection of these hints and tips, and we thought we'd do this kind of fun back and forth discussion around each one of these, and we'll see how it works today if it's one-sided. But in general,
now you're going down, dude. You are going
there
down.
There it is. So unprofessional, Tom.
I was on 15 minutes beforehand waiting for you, dude.
Like I said, I was on. Apology to everyone. It was completely my fault for not being on early. I was like, it's one of those with a client trying to wrap it up, and here we are. So Tom, and we've done this 5 or 6 times now, and so we're just going to kind of follow this format. What's fun about this is that, and I'll go through kind of the rules here, but is that each tip that we're going to share is completely different, and so there shouldn't be any overlap. But we'll see what happens today. But by way of just to kind of accelerate things by way of introductions, again, my name is Christian Buckley. I run a company called Collab Talk LLC. I'm also the CMO for a blockchain AI startup called Reveal It. But I do independent research and technical marketing, primarily for ISVs, so independent software vendors within the Microsoft ecosystem. But I do have clients that are outside of the Microsoft ecosystem. And there is my blog, and a little bit about Collab Talk, and we've got some of the biggest names in the SharePoint world, the Office 365 world that I've worked with and help out with various technical marketing.
Blah, blah, blah,
blah, blah, blah. Tom, introduce yourself.
I'm Tom. I'm the one who he was playing head games with so he can try to win because I stacked the deck.
Always playing the victim here on these, although you're correct.
Yeah, I work for Canby Health Solutions, large healthcare company, insurance company, umbrella corporation in the Pacific Northwest, and I deal mainly with SharePoint and Office 365, and I have a blog called 1 Minute Office Magic, where you can see the tips that we're going to cover today, plus many others, usually produced twice a week.
Yes, and so that is, and I know that and it's a lot of work to go and do, but Tom, you are trying to capture things that I'm presenting that you don't already have up on your site as well, and so that eventually there will be this one version of the truth out there of these. So how we do this, and so of course we've got the boxing theme here again if you've not been here, but so we're going to go through and take turns. And so there are no duplicates between what we share. Now, because Tom and I don't know what the other person's going to present, there could be overlap. And so we often have backups just in case. But there is an opportunity for the audience to vote after each round. And so I've got the little polls ready to go, and I don't know if people can see them yet. They're up there, but we'll ask you that you not vote until after the end of the round there. But we do tally this, and as part of the the posting of the slides later today or tomorrow. We do keep kind of a running tally of who's ahead. Tom, how are we on that leaderboard?
Close. Really, really close.
And we say no hitting below the belt, but it's hard not to hit below the belt when people don't show up on time. Right?
Oh!
I was saying me. I was saying that was me.
I was going to say you did hit below the belt, which is really kind of reaching really, really low for you. Because
apologize. So there's a healthy dose of smack talk that happens here. It's all friendly, but mostly. But there's a deeper. It really does kind of I think highlight a deeper pain that it just recognize that. All right. So go ahead and get started. So I always usually start off with the first one, and then I'm going to pass the controls over to Tom and let him share. Honestly, so when I put these things together a few nights ago, I forgot which order I put them in. So let's see what I'm presenting here. So round one. All right, here we go.
Ding ding.
Oh yeah. So this is one where, and we've all seen this. I don't know if people use it the same way that I do, as extensively as I do. But in some ways, and Tom and I know you and I have had a conversation, like PowerPoint is a poor man's Photoshop. Mm-hmm. It is an excellent tool for going in and quickly cleaning up images, especially if you're doing any kind of, whether internal or external, like social promotion of an event, of a webinar, of whatever it is, a blog post that you've done. It allows you to go drop that image in. You go and collect the remove, click on the remove background, take that image, and so it allows you to create layers of your images and add other effects to that formatted, that edited image. So I will do this. Often we'll go in, and if there's like you've got the famous Photoshop examples, the videos that are out there. There's a great series, by the way, if you like Photoshop, called like "You Suck at Photoshop," which is hilarious.
I need to do that one.
It's a multiple series. It's more like a mini drama of the guy as his marriage is destroyed, but he shows you real things in Photoshop while you're laughing at the horror that is his life. Anyway, very entertaining. But what I'll generally do, how I use this, is that like when you go and you find the right image, a product image or something, and it's got the the white background, and of course you can go in there in the corrections and the other tabs there and remove like one color, like the white of the background, so that you're able to do these layered effects. But remove background actually lets you go in there and be creative. It's like like cutting around the lines of the object, of the person, of the aspect of the image that you want to keep, and then incorporating that image into your presentation. So then you could have, and I've done this where I've had pictures of an individual, but I want to put them in a generic background, and we'll go and use the remove background to get rid of all the rest of the noise around them, the like a whiteboard in the background or a window, and then have multiple of these of this image of this person, and then I can kind of animate, fade in between these different movements and gestures of the individual. But it's just a simple. Everyone has this with PowerPoint. It's something that I think instantly raises the professionalism of your presentations by having much more. Much cleaner images. And this was something I was reading a blog post. I think it was done by a good friend over at Metalogix, Ragnar Heil, who he and I had a conversation about presentations. I always envy those people that have a marketing team behind them that can go and build pretty slides. I don't. My slides built by me.
Yeah, I give mine over to Sandra. Sandra makes them look pretty, and life's grand.
Excellent. All right, so let's do this. We're going to do the little sharing. And remember, Tom, share the app, not your desktop.
So yeah, the one thing that just showed up in my inbox the other day, or in my Outlook, which was really cool, was something called Focused Inbox. And what that does I think is like finally rolled out to all the Office 365 tenants now. So if you've got Office Pro Plus and you're getting your latest updates from Office 16 or for Office 2016, you'll see it in Outlook. But what it does is it shows up with two different inboxes now, one called Focused and one called Other. And what it does is it tries to use machine learning over time to figure out which emails are things that you probably should see or need to see or want to see on a regular basis, as opposed to other items that may not be as important, such as when Christian sent me the 1 hour reminder that this was coming up, it went into the other inbox instead of the focused inbox. Okay.
Yeah, this is the evolution of the focused inbox, and of course, I think most people are familiar with, and if you have Office 365 especially, is Microsoft has started to do some of this, the machine learning, evolution of search into Outlook, and a lot of people had issues with initially the first versions of those things, and like any machine learning, and even with the focused inbox, I mean, it's learning based on your habits, your patterns,
right?
Who you're responding to.
Yeah. So when I saw it pop up a couple days ago, what it did is it went through my inbox, which is relatively small, and it moved 7 items over to the other box, and they were all vendor related things for, hey, do you want to attend this webinar, or here's a reminder for a webinar, and things like that. And what's nice is you can go through both on the focus side and the other side. If you right click a particular email, if you scroll about 2/3 of the way down the screen, which you'll see in a screen print here hopefully shortly, you have the option to say either send this specific email to the opposite location. So if it's a focused one, you would send it to the other inbox. If it's in the other inbox, it would send it to the focused email inbox. Or you can say, hey, I want everything from this sender to go to either the other inbox or the focused inbox. And so that way you can kind of prompt it if it didn't make the right choice to begin with, and then it will go ahead and send it to where it should be going. So I found that really nice. I think that they used to have something similar called Clutter.
Yeah, it was Clutter. Clutter was the first one.
Clutter was the first one, right?
Yeah, and that was and people had a problem with it. They would say, hey, I've got things going into Clutter that I don't want to go into Clutter. And I think part of it was like a misunderstanding of, how it worked and what it was doing. And,
right.
and people would, maybe even some people got stuck, I think, on the word clutter versus focused, other,
Yeah. So this, I think, is a really good option to allow you to say, okay, I'm going to spend most of my time in the focused inbox and try to actually get stuff done, as opposed to spending time clearing out vendor emails and stuff like that. And then over time, you find yourself obviously becoming more and more focused, quote unquote, on things that really matter to you. So that's my tip in a very unorganized fashion. So yeah, you can go ahead and give it the ding ding. Round 1 is over. Go ahead and make your voting, and eventually we'll get there here.
I think, again, we both kind of did softballs in the first one of known regular, things that are out there. So, which is good. It's good we do need to cover things that are common and sometimes just not used as often. So,
well, and at least in our area, since we're just, we're kind of starting down the Office 365 journey in our area, the whole focused inbox thing is something that just popped up for a lot of our people like 2 days ago.
Right. Oh, okay. Oh, so it's brand new for you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
But so it's again, so my perspective, I mean, it's one of those things I kind of take for granted.
Right.
Why is it? But what I have found though, and Tom, if this is something that you're familiar with, but over time, I mean, it is getting smarter. It is. I'm finding it much more valuable, and I am trusting it to know that, hey, these are not things I need to go and and look at right now, which is really the point.
Well, it takes you out of the flow of what you're currently doing to say, I have to give attention to deleting these 3 emails or make a decision, then get back to what I'm doing.
Right.
You can just say, end of the day, I'll look at the other column.
Exactly.
So
where we are with the poll, so it looks like, Tom, I've edged you out 54 to 46%.
I still think there should be a penalty there for.
I guess I share the results of that there.
Yeah.
You can see that.
I can see it.
And hang on, I'm just about done with, I just make sure I'm not missing something here.
So round 2, ding, next screen.
Right. Is it still seeing it?
Still seeing round 2.
All right.
Yay, finally. Okay, viewing your recent edits in OneNote. Phew. Okay, so
it's just that easy, people. It's just that easy.
Just that easy. So if you're like me and seemingly an increasingly more amount of people, what you're running into is a situation where you store a lot of things in OneNote, but a lot of times you may think, well, I know I just did that recently, but I don't know where it's at. Where did I put it? So you can search for it, but if it's a common word, it may be in 100 different places in OneNote. So if you're not aware of this, if you go into the History tab in OneNote and check Recent Edits, what you can do is actually go out and say, hey, I just want to see all the stuff that I actually changed either today or since yesterday, and they've got, some different date ranges there. So in this particular example that I have, I wanted to see all the changes I made since yesterday. So I went to History, Recent Edit, since yesterday, and when that comes up, what it does is it shows me on the right-hand side where all my search results were, and I'll go over the different options it gives me in terms of where it searches and how it sorts it. But it tells me I had 2 things that were updated in OneNote. One of them was my status report that I keep, and it actually highlights in yellow the piece that was changed since yesterday. And then I also made a change to something yesterday, which I thought I'd blurred them all out, but on the next screen, which you can go ahead and change to, you'll see that I hadn't done that quite. In the search result, you can either search just the notebook that you're in, which is nice if that's where you think it was at, or you can search across all the notebooks in OneNote that you have, which can be very beneficial if you happen to use a lot of different notebook for things. Or you can also restrict it to section, but usually in section you can find what you're looking for, I've found. And in terms of the search results, you can sort them either by the date that was modified, section, title, or author. The one that I didn't actually blur out here that was I was wrong, that was actually an email that Sandra sent me. And I said, hey, I'm going to leave this in there. And she goes, you're not. And I said, yeah, I am.
Yeah, who is wrong, Tom?
Sandra was wrong.
What's Sandra's last name? I'm sorry?
Mahan. Sandra Mahan.
I was always like to point that stuff out and just be, yeah.
So, this was really nice. And this has helped me a lot of times when I have to go back and try to find something and I don't know quite where it was at.
Yep. Do you have one more screen on this, or is that?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, this is something. So I discovered the depth of what they've added on here. It was a couple months ago, but where I was co-editing. So now it is with Office 365, of course, when you do a meeting invite, you have the ability to make it a Skype meeting so that you can automatically all meet on Skype. But you also have the ability then to create shared notes in OneNote and attach that to a meeting invite. So started to use that, and of course, you can point to an existing notebook or create something new for that meeting. But doing a lot of co-editing around OneNote, and so like I have 2 research projects running right now, and we're using primarily OneNote for sharing of the research notes and things around this. And so was going back and a couple months ago, somebody deleted something in one of these co-editing and was able to go back and look at the old version to see what was erroneously deleted. It was fantastic to have that ability. Very powerful stuff.
It's one that I like a lot.
Yep. Well, here's mine. That's a great tip. So here's one, and I think we've talked about it to a point. Now, there's a couple caveats here, because I specifically wanted to go in and do this task. And remember seeing the tip And so I've mentioned Kurt. Now there's a video that he demonstrates it. It's in German, but just from watching, following along, you can see what he does to add that. Essentially what he did is he went into and created a calendar in Excel. This is what I was doing as well. You can then paste that into OneNote, select the cells, right-click, and link to pages. And it will generate then these calendar-based pages. So what I was doing is working with a client around their content strategy and saying, hey, next 30, 45 days, and what's going to be around that. And if you don't use OneNote like that, like you could go and add the pages and you can indent sub pages. So we created these calendar pages for this client, and so it auto generated these with the calendar dates, and we wrote notes on that top level page, but then inserted additional pages and indented them under each of these days. So one day there might be nothing going out. The next day there might be 3 things that are happening, 3 separate pieces of content. So if you're leveraging, a OneNote for a lot of this kind of organization, especially if you're creating support documentation or web content, any kind of online content, but want to keep those things organized. And again, I highly recommend using OneNote as a co-editing tool because of all of the ability to see who's in there live, what edits they're making in real time, as well as Tom just showed, going back historically and looking at changes and edits and what happened. It's just OneNote is becoming just such a powerful tool. But I really like this one, this tip that Kurt had shared out in the video, and to be able to go in and auto-generate. And you can also, I should point out, if you do formatting and creating certain templates, it can adopt that as you move those things over. There's a lot of, you can get creative in how you auto-generate these things. But for me, creating the tabs around that calendar, it solved that immediate need. It was a lot of manual work I didn't have to do.
Very cool.
Have you done this, Tom? Have you used this one?
I have not done this one. The closest I'd probably come to it is I keep a weekly status report that I do on my own that I've just turned into a habit over a number of years / decades. But I usually do it on a weekly basis, so I don't have that particular calendar thing. I know that there's an add-on that you can do for OneNote, and I'm blanking on the name right now, and it will also allow you to do calendars.
Yeah, there are some third-party tools and things. Again, if you need to do something prettier, like formatted, and I mean this, I don't really go in like add calendars and mark them up like on a page, kind of like this image shows. I like this was very specific. Like I wanted to not have to manually go and create all of those pages in that organization, but yeah, there's a lot of options around calendaring that are out there. All right. So the polls out there, people have been responding. If you've not yet, Tom's in the lead. He's got 58% to my 42 right now, 59, 60%. Okay, people, we don't need to be rude here, 61 to 39.
Okay.
All right. So
let's call that one and keep moving here, dude.
Okay, I agree. I'm going to end the polling on that one. Congrats on that one, Tom.
Thank you.
I'm going to end that, and just so people can see the results there, 62 to 39%. All right, let me move that over the side and jump to the next one. Round 3. I love this very simple thing: finding a file location. I'm so glad. Like, why did it take so long for them to add this? Why? I don't understand. And so I'm actually going to show you this here in a second. Let me open up over here and just to show you how this works, because it's just such a simple but powerful thing. And I'm going to change my sharing over to the Word doc just to show you. So if you can see the Word doc now. I don't know if this has happened to anyone else, but when you go in kind of auto share or save it and you save the file and then you close it and you're like, oh wait, I needed to add something to it. And you go back where you thought it was, and that's not where it was. And like, where is that? And so you spend the next 5 minutes digging, trying to find that thing. Of course, different ways of doing that. You can open up Word, open up the document that way. But so what's nice about this is right up now in the header of your Office application, in this case, Word, there it is right there. There's the title of it. It's saved to my OneDrive. If I click that, I wasn't able to do the screenshot. It was being shy. It was running away when I tried to do my desktop, snap the image here. But here I've got then the title of that, where that is. I can open it up in its location. I can share or get a link to that and send it to somebody, as well as see this is an original document. Probably not the best one to use in this example then, but see the version history as well, all right there at your fingertips from the top of that item. Because so that's, if you realize, hey, I auto-saved or I saved it here, no, it actually needs to be moved. You can open that up, move that, rename it, whatever you need to do right there. But it's really powerful if you're, again, working on a lot of different documents, a lot of content, to be able to keep track of where things are. And so this is one of those edits, those changes, that features, I guess you would call it a feature. I don't know what you call it if it's mini. I wouldn't even call this a feature so much as just a,
something that should have been there a long time ago.
Does it work only for things on OneDrive? No, it's on your desktop or just showing where it is, wherever it's saved. So locally or out, because like I have 3 different OneDrive for Business accounts. I have my personal OneDrive account, which is where this is. And then I have my workstation that has 3 drives on it. It has 3 storage devices, an external and 2 internal. So stuff gets lost if I'm not keeping track.
Yeah. So is this using the Word in the browser, or is this the actual client?
This is the client version.
Interesting.
So it's just the latest Windows 10 and the latest version of Office.
Huh. I don't see that on mine either. I'm going to have to look into that one.
Yeah, take a look, see where that update came from. But it might be, whether that's, I'd have to dig to see if it's Windows 10 enabled. If it's it's the latest, should be the 2016 Office. But
yeah, it could be maybe one of the latest changes, more for first release.
Right.
And we're not on first release.
Yeah,
so.
and that may be it. And Sandra just made the same comment. So that like if you're talking about just getting the focused inbox, that's been out there for a while. So that would make sense. So this is just one of those simple productivity tips that helps me a lot. And let me jump back over.
That one's one I will definitely look forward to seeing show up in my.
Yeah, it's a great little tool that I use a lot. But Tom, over to you.
Okay, this one's kind of cool if, one, you're just tired of reading a long document, or you want to be doing something while you hear the document that you're supposed to be reading, or maybe you have vision issues and this becomes an accessibility issue. You can actually have Word read a document to you, which is kind of cool.
I love this.
So here's how you do that. So you get your document, and you'll notice, because somebody will ask me the question, where'd you get the words? That's like an Ipsum generator, only it's a kitten or cat Ipsum generator. So that's why we've got this really fun stuff out there. You go ahead and go into Word, click the View tab on the ribbon bar, and go into Read mode. And when you do that, next screen, it basically takes up the entire Word screen, gives you 3 options up at the top, and what you do is you click View and Read Aloud. And once you do that, next screen, it actually starts reading the document to you, which was really fun to listen to it read this one to me, especially when you got down to the very end where it was cat sits on keyboard and it tried to pronounce ASDF. Didn't do very well with that one. But you'll also see something up in the upper right corner, which will allow you to rewind, fast forward. I think you can change the voice and speed it up at the same time. But this is really nice. Like I say, if you're visually impaired, this is good for reading something, or if you have to not be looking at your screen, but it's really important that you hear, read / understand that there's something in this document, this can be a good way to get around it. So once you're done, go ahead and go to the next screen. what you do is you can just go back up to View and click Edit Document, which then takes you out of this, read mode situation. Next screen. And now you're back in normal Word mode. You can edit your document. You can do whatever. But in the meantime, maybe you have truly multitasked by getting something done that you couldn't look at the screen, but you could listen to it. Now you're up to date on the document and you're ready to go.
Yep, I've used this just a couple times, but where I was needed hands-free, I needed to multitask on something, and it was great to have that capability. And I'd say and beyond this, I mean, Microsoft has done a lot of investment, again, the latest in the Office 365 stuff, a lot of things with Teams around the transcription as well as translation. And so a lot of if you go look at the latest demos that Microsoft is presenting about kind of like the future of meetings,
right?
Where everything, like they're investing heavily in the technology to separate what could be a boisterous room, a discussion of 5-10 people. And it's amazing at how it captures and recognizes who's speaking, and then the transcriptions and then translation of
yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I like the point that Lewis just put in the chat too, is this is also a really good way to edit your document, because you read it, and even though you're reading the words, really what your mind is doing is remembering what it was you typed. And so you'll miss duplicate words or, something that's not quite right, where if you have it read to you, it becomes very obvious. A lot of times I'll proof by reading out loud. It's like, I missed a word there. This can play the same role as an editor without having to pull in somebody else to do so.
Now, am I able to listen to it in a fancy British accent?
I have no idea, but there's a possibility, and maybe. I would say try user voice if you want to have some.
Yeah, maybe there'd be language packs. I want it all in English, but I want different accents. I think there's a huge business opportunity there.
There you go.
Well, I just launched the poll for round 3. So please share your thoughts there of those tips.
I will admit, I'm looking forward to getting your tip, Christian. That's going to be cool.
Getting that, being able to see, again, I work in and out of a lot of documents. Having that, be able to know instantly where you are and then share that out right there at the top of the document, without having to go and navigate, where was this? Where did I save this?
Was it a download? Was it a document? Is it in my OneDrive?
Yeah.
Did I move it over there? Is it on my desktop? I don't remember.
Yep. All right. Looks like we've got 64% for you, Tom. Congrats.
Ooh, nice. Thank you, everyone.
And the polling there.
And I will have you know, I did not try to convince everybody to show up and vote for me, really.
Sure.
I didn't.
Tom?
Much.
Yeah, Yep. Okay. Nope. Sure. Yeah.
Do that.
Totally believe you.
Nobody taped me.
All right, Tom.
This is one that I really like as a presenter, because this is something much along the lines of what Christian was talking about, giving a very polished presentation. I think this is really critical if you're up in front of a crowd and somebody asks you a question and you have to react by using a different slide, which doesn't happen to be the next one up. So in this particular case, I have a slide deck out here. It's got like 20 some odd slides in it. And I've got it set up to where it's going to project on a screen, but I'm also going to be able to use the speaker view to see what the next slide is up, and you're going to see that on the next screen. So in this particular case, I've got everything set up. I go ahead and start the presentation. In my speaker view format, my big slide is what's being projected, and my next slide up is what's showing on the small side on the right with the speaker notes. So this is really good. I understand what's coming up, but invariably somebody goes, well, I have a question about XYZ, and you're going, God, I've got a slide for that, and I'd really like to, bring that forward right now. So I hit escape and I go back to PowerPoint in non-presentation mode, and I, scan through really quickly, flashing everything and the whole bit, or I stay in presentation mode and I just fast forward a lot, and people are like getting headaches because they're seeing all these slides and you're giving away things that maybe you don't want them to see yet. What you can do instead is you can click on this little icon in the lower left corner that has little squares, and when you click on that, next slide, you actually see all your next slides.
So they're still seeing that same slide.
The audience is still seeing that one main slide. You're now seeing everything you have to pick from, and you can say, okay, slide 24 is the one that answers their question. And when I click on slide 24, next screen, that now shows up on the screen. So as far as they're concerned, you were really on top of your game. You knew what they were going to ask, and you had the slide for that next in the deck. And to me, it looks really smooth, really professional. And then when you say, okay, I need to get back to where I was before, you simply click on that icon again. You go back to the place where you left off, you hit enter, and poof, you're back to just that screen. And they didn't see any of the transition. To me, again, if you're speaking in front of, like Christian would be speaking in front of a Ignite conference in front of 1,000, 1,500 people.
Literally dozens of people.
Literally dozens of people. He doesn't want to be scrolling through slides and scrolling back through slides and going, oh, did I pass it? Oh, did I? No. No, do this. It looks smooth. It looks professional. And if you're a speaker who wants to continue coming to conferences, it probably means they'll invite you back, or you'll get better review scores from the audience or feedback.
Yeah.
So
I discovered this a couple of years back. I always use this.
Yeah.
I'd say every presentation at least once I use this.
Yeah, and plus what's kind of nice on this too is you can set it up kind of like a run your own type of presentation. Is you can come to a slide that says, okay, I've got 3 hours worth of material. I've got 30 minutes to present. Here's the 6 topics. Which one do you want me to go into? Right. And they'll say, I want to see topic number 5. Fine. Go ahead, go out there, bump to where topic 5 is in your slide deck, bring it up, and you're ready to go. You didn't have to leave the screen, scroll through and find stuff, and then start it again. You look like you know what you're doing.
Exactly. Well, let me jump over to this. I don't have my image over there. So, Tom, have you played with the timeline storyteller yet with Power BI? Have you done any?
We're not quite to Power BI yet.
All right.
So this will be good information for us in the future.
So what I love about this, and I say that even if you're not on it yet, this is something to go and take a look at. This actually came out of an open source project that's out on GitHub. So you can go and look at that, and people have been adding on to that and talking about that. You can go pull it down out an app source as well. If you've not yet played with Power BI, and even if you don't have it yet in place, I mean, I highly recommend going and spending time getting used to, familiar with it, because Microsoft is just investing so heavily in, you hear this phrase, democratizing business intelligence. But part of the problem is that now you have all these great visualization tools, you have all this capability. A point that I always make it, like, it's great to be able to go in and slice and dice your data every which way. However, if you're not able then to convey the message that's within your data, then what's the point of having all those fancy tools? And so you need to, I'd say go and take a look at there's certainly demo environments. There's a lot of things that are out there that you can become familiar with. And what this is this allows you to go in and create timelines around the data. So you can actually show, rather than just, flat screenshots of changing data, it allows you to go in there and filter, highlight, annotate, and then animate a lot of this so that you can create very visually rich and compelling presentations. So, I mean, this other example that's out on this is actually on that link at the bottom out on AppSource, shared both of these images. But just to give you an idea of some of the things that you can go and do. And so what's cool about this too, I mean, I love Power BI because the first time I really went in there and explored with this was doing like a timeline type function, doing a slider and dragging it over time and seeing the stats as they've changed. And you've probably all done this where, like on a website, you've looked at, like there was around the election this last fall, there's timeline showing like over time how every state in the US was voting and how the demographics kind of evolved and changed. It's cool to slide that back and forth, or to look at just growth of the population in general. You can now create those kinds of, if you don't know HTML and be able to go and code that yourself, you can do that with your data sets and these visualizations and create a very animated view for your users of that data. Very powerful. That timeline, I keep hearing it mentioned. People will go and add different aspects into a presentation. In fact, at the SharePoint Conference North America, I heard Timeline Storyteller mentioned in 3 or 4 sessions. At the MVP Summit in March, multiple people talking about it and praising it. So definitely something you want to go take a look at and get ready for the Power BI stuff.
Okay.
All right. So with that, let me
to vote.
launch round 4, voting. So please vote now.
Unfortunately, in the 5 minutes we have left, I'll be able to do mine really quickly.
Okay. Yeah, great. Because I'm going to go in and I think I've got another quick demo on this one as well. So it looks like, Tom, you edged me out again, 66 to 30. Well, 60. Oh, it's dropping down. The numbers are no. Okay, there's no movement at the end of that.
I was going to say, close the poll. Close the poll.
Should leave it open a little bit longer. Let's
No.
just do a social experiment to see if everybody who hasn't voted yet just threw their vote my direction. What would that look like?
No, we don't have time. Sorry, need to move on.
62 to 38. There we go. Thanks a lot. Close that one out. Share the results.
Okay.
There it is. All right. I'm going to stop sharing the results. There.
Okay.
Move that. Right.
And the final tip, because I know he can't duplicate me now. So the final.
Wait. It's me first.
Oh yeah, because you went last. Okay.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit of time here at the end, dude.
Okay, I will real quick. So around this, so we've talked before about some of the inking capabilities, which are in, just in Windows 10. If you've not yet don't yet have Windows 10, there's so many cool things that are happening around this, so that it enables you, if you have a touch screen or your monitor, if you've got a device like a Surface Pro or anything else, to go in, or your laptop and mark up. It's really powerful. One of the things that came to PowerPoint is, you notice that Tom and I are both real big fans of both PowerPoint and OneNote, FYI. And Outlook I think those are the 3 we talk about a lot here. But this is just so cool. In fact, that in the April announcements, the monthly announcements that the product team out on the Office blog, there's an animation, there's a video around this that actually demonstrates just at a high level. So what this is in PowerPoint is that you're able to go in and either with your mouse or a pen device or touch a screen, you're able to go in and write and create shapes, add text. And what it is, they've added text and shape analysis. So it's part of the machine learning, part of the AI capabilities there, and will allow you then to go in and convert those into images. So it's, again, making it really clean. So here you see it took the text and it took the boxes and it made them clean. And then the next step in the video is like they like pointed to different things. And so it'll clean all that up. Again, it's about that professionalism and making the presentations just cleaner, more powerful visual tools. But it just is much more flexible in how you create these. Cutting and pasting images in there, typing text in there, as well as drawing tools. So you're seeing this capability, this inking capability being added across all of the Office applications, as well as within Windows. So what's cool about this, like giving a presentation with the inking tools, see if I can do this, see if it'll show up. so that you can see this. Can you see now the PowerPoint,
Yes.
my screen here? So down in the inking bottom right, so I could go in here, I can add things like the sticky notes, like, you know, that kind of stuff. That's all part of this, and I can then, you know, leave the sticky note somewhere on my desktop. But you also have the ability to go in there and do the sketch pad. Of course, I left a bunch of stuff on this. I'm going to erase all that. But I can, you know, go in there and, you know, and draw things and illustrate, which is great in a presentation. But the thing where this is more relevant is the screen sketch pad. So there, I took a snapshot of my screen, and then I can actually go in. So if you're presenting to somebody and highlight things, save that as an image, and then save that down and send that out. So you think if you've ever sat there, watched somebody give a presentation on a slide and want to take notes around there, and maybe you go do a screen capture. I mean, the inking allows you to do that instantly and then save that down and share that out. And let me go back to my app share. So ink analysis and the conversion within PowerPoint, which is really just part of the bigger picture of what Microsoft is doing around inking. All right, over to you.
And my final one is one that I didn't know about, but you can put comments in an Excel spreadsheet. And I would have loved to have known this a long time ago because I could have used this many times. So in order to do this, what you do is you just right-click in a particular cell, and towards the bottom of the drop-down list, you'll see something that says Insert Comment. And so when you click on the Insert Comment tool, or the Insert Comment option, next screen.
I'm doing a little research here, Tom, because I do believe I've covered this one.
I don't think you have.
Yep, I have.
Really?
I sure have.
Okay, fine. I will concede this round to you, but I'm going to finish up with this one.
Anyway. It's a cool one, but I most definitely did, because it's not just inserting the comments. You can actually write kind of like the inking over the right. So I covered both of those in a
fine.
Boom!
For those of you who don't remember or didn't see what you can then do is it gives you like a yellow sticky note, and what you can do is you can make it larger, smaller, whatever, but you can write in your comments at that point, which is great. And then it shows you a little red triangle up in the upper right corner to say, hey, you've got a comment here. Next screen. And then what you can do is if you right click on that cell again, it then gives you the option to either edit the comment, delete the comment, or once again, hide the comment. So all they see is a little red triangle, but that's it. And then the final thing, last screen, is that you can also do much the same thing with the ribbon bar up at the top by going to Review. You can still edit, delete, you can scroll through the comments, but it also gives you the option to show all the comments at once, which is really nice if you see a lot of little triangles there and kind of want to get an overview of everything. And I see where it says showing too. Fine, okay. He wins this one by default. I still am kind of upset about the first one, but
this is a very important feature, though, and why I mentioned it in a previous session, because we've been asking for a long time for this kind of capability inside of Excel, which is again critical because of the co-editing, because that's becoming so prevalent. And so it's important to be able to go in there and see this. I can't remember, Tom, I know you can show them all on the screen. Is there also, I know that there is in a competing application I won't talk about, but where it allows you to go in almost like a document view of all of the comments, or is it just in this visual like you're showing?
I don't know.
Okay. I think it's just like that. I'll launch the polling out there. I mean, I'll
launch the poll so you can get the votes. But even if I win the votes, I lose this round.
It's all right. But it's no, I mean it is an important feature, and again, which I think speaks to the fact that Microsoft is recognizing a bunch of things. One, the way that we work is that it's collaborative, and so they're adding these kinds of common features across all of the products, all of the applications. And it's important because we're more and more, it's not just us working on it as a solo in an office. it's always in conjunction with other people and getting feedback and making it easy to and consistent in how you add comments, add feedback, and then can co-edit. So I'll go ahead and close that out there. There's the final results there. So I'll have to tally for the entire event to see. I think
I won Summer Skirmish though.
Yes, so it's 3-2. So congratulations. And so I'll go in as part of the final. I'll go in and update this, so we'll have the latest tallies. We'll add it to the bottom because Tom and we do look at number of rounds won. So this, I think, will put us at a tie, and also at events will put us at a tie.
Yeah.
And then
so
overall votes.
Like neck and neck.
And Tom, you might be again all three. Tom has been all three more than I have. Maybe we track that as a stat as well. Who's been overall winner across all three the most? But over time, we're just kind of capturing all this. We're just doing this for fun. It's part of the trash talking.
Yeah. So I think we've got another one that we'll be doing in August.
We have August, September, and I think, did we book October?
October we didn't.
Okay, not yet, but we are planning.
Not yet.
We're going to get into the schedule.
If you want to see the show live and you're anywhere within the Minneapolis Twin Cities show or area, there's a good chance you'll see us at SharePoint Saturday Twin Cities.
That's right. November. So that'll be the next, we'll be together again doing this. And I'm thinking about dressing up. And this last time Tom was dressed in boxing outfit, and I might do something similar to that. But for those, again, thank you for joining us. Apologies for the late start. Yes, everything will be out there. The entire recording with the edited slides, everything will be out on YouTube. We'll make them all available via SlideShare. And then, of course, you'll want to go to 1 Minute Office Magic, and Tom will roll all of this into his blog as well.
Sounds great, everyone.
Thank you so much. Our next event, so the next one is on August 28th. So August 28th, mark your calendars, same time, and we'll definitely have information out there ahead of time so that everybody can participate.
Yeah, a certain large audience segment of a certain company will get notice of it.
Thanks a lot, everybody, for joining, and Tom, thanks again once again. And even though it was technically my fault, you were still late. So I'm just saying.
Oh God, that hurt. I'll talk to you later, dude.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Bye.